On this episode of Vice Grip Garage, a guy is in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, inside an old lawnmower manufacturing facility that's now full of various vehicles, classic and otherwise. One of which I just traded my old Bel Air for. This 1979 Dodge D150 Adventure SE. Yeah, that's a real thing, apparently. This truck's been parked for 19 years. I'm gonna see if I can get it fired up, running, back on the street, and attempt to drive it 400 plus miles back home. Because while I have no options. That's my ride now. Sweet, at least it's not rusty. That would not be good. Now, a guy knows absolutely nothing about these old Dodge pick-em-up trucks, but I do want to share the history of this rig with you so it stays with the vehicle. We'll discuss it a little bit, walk around it, scan our peepers on it, get under the power barn, scan in there, see what we got going on, and start twirling the wrenches. With any luck, we'll be on the road late tonight or super early tomorrow morning, and we'll make our journey from Illinois back to central Tennessee. So that cute little 68 four-door Bel Air, I put some lipstick on. I actually ended up trading it for this truck right here with a really nice guy named Jay. And Jay's been great, the hospitality, and he's letting me work in his facility here, and these are some of his toys and whatnot. But he actually found this truck somewhere in Illinois from a family member. And the story goes, this was some old timer's legitimate go-in-the-town rig, meaning he never really used it as a truck. He wasn't hauling rocks and gravel and fence posts and beating it up in a pasture and this and that. He drove it to church. He drove it to coffee with the boys. He took it to a car wash every Sunday. He pulled his little boat with it, went fishing and whatnot. Used to have a topper on it as well. Unfortunately, this feller passed away in 2006. And it sat 19 years until Jay discovered it. Family members finally said, we've got to do something with this rig, and moved it out. And I'll show you some photographs here from Jay. It's just where he parked it. Pulled it into the garage one day, and that was the last time. And it sat and sat and sat. He had to drag the thing out. It was on 4 flats. Now, obviously, he's cleaned it up some and done some work to the rig, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. But technically, I'm the 3rd owner. Jay was a brief owner. He pushed this thing to probably the 40-yard line, and he's got a lot of other stuff going on in here. Some really cool stuff. LS swap Mustang. He's LS swapping a Fiero. He's got a big block C10 back there. So this, he said, well, let's just move that on to someone else, which I can definitely respect. And that someone else is me. So we're going to try to get this thing home. Now again, I don't know anything about this rig, but let's start in the back. We'll work our way front and see what we got. It's green and cream. Cool. So this is a 79, but in 78, that was finally the first year that you could get a factory installed receiver hitch on this. Imagine that. You can actually get a truck that you can tow stuff with. Cool. Notably, this one does not have that option. This has an aftermarket tow bumper, Urbana, Illinois. 6,000 trailer weight, 800 tongue weight, and we can see that that was heavily used. And we have an aftermarket 4-pin trailer hitch here. That tells me, without a doubt, this old gentleman was pulling his boat to the river, which is where this was found, very close to the river. So he was most likely an avid outdoorsman, fisherman, whatnot. All right, let's move down the side. Again in 78, because it's kind of teeing up to 79. 78 was the first year you can get a tilt steering wheel, finally, in these bad boys. And an optional stereo, CB radio, and 8-track player in the dash, which my wrecker actually has, and it's awesome. It still works. In '79, you could finally get power locks in these, which as an Adventure SE, think of it like the Dodge version of a Chevrolet Silverado. This one doesn't. It has the crank windows, which is pretty interesting. Nice interior though. Here on the fender, we can see the sought after Adventure SE150 badge. Well, what does all that garbly-gook mean? Well, the Adventure is a trim level that was introduced in 1978, and basically it was an interior cab option. It was nicer. And in '79, you had the Adventure SE, same thing, a little bit more elegant interior. In this, we should find things like fake wood, splash of chrome here and there, a nicer seat, maybe even a quartz clock. Whew, I know. And then there were some other options that you could order down the RPO list and whatnot. Now the 150, everyone knows that a Dodge D100 is the half ton. Well, what in the devil is the 150? It's right smack in the middle of the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. Well, it was a heavier-ish or more duty-ish half ton, still a half ton, but not truck. I guess the easiest way to explain it is if you're a GM guy, you're probably familiar with the heavy half truck. Well, they were 6,000 specifically, GVWR or greater, heavier truck, a little bit more towing capacity. They could haul a little bit more. Wasn't quite a 3/4 ton, wasn't quite a half ton. Bam! You got the 150 designation. So this should have a 362 barra, automatic, fancy interior, 2-wheel drive, nice going to town rig. I could see why the feller, I don't know his name, maybe we could figure that out, bought this. And the color is beautiful, although faded out here from sitting all the years. I could see it on the inside of the doors, and it is beautiful. Now in 1979, Dodge was trying to refresh some stuff. So it got a makeover up front. Well, they called it that. Really, it was just a hood, the cowl, the grille, and the quad headlight on the upper trim models. And that was the difference between 78 and 79. It's a pretty clean look. It's got the old tin grille, super fragile, but this one is in absolute mint condition. Now, I mentioned that Jay did some work to this thing, so as we're walking around, you can keep that in mind. Obviously, he's washed it a time or 12. He's taken the white topper off of the back. He's got some of the junk out of the thing already. He put 4 brand new tires on this because the other ones were shot, weren't holding air. And I believe he said he put a radiator and a fuel pump in it, and that's as far as he got. He actually tried to get it running to get onto a trailer and over here to the shop. Did not fire. So it is DOA, doesn't run. This is how it sits. And that's where a guy comes in. Let's walk around, take a closer look, get inside, get under the hood, and then we got to get twirling. So again, I'm not a Dodge guy, but I believe the tin era of Dodge trucks ended in '79 or early '80. And this would be an excellent example of a mint condition grill. I mean, there's a ding right here, which really was an insect or something. But other than that, it's perfect. We can see the old school General Electric lights. Them are really old. Bumper's never really been into nothing. Hasn't pushed over wood piles or anything. Old cars. I think the biggest dent that I've noticed is this one right here. He might have got a little wobbly coming out of bingo one night and just, cleaned out a ditch. And it looks like it was dented in and maybe he popped it out because I could see some evidence of that. But other than that, I mean, the guy obviously loved this truck. Now the rust-wise, I think this is just pretty typical, and it doesn't matter the make. Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge, late 70s, early 80s. They did this bullet rusting. It's just rock chips and stuff like that got underneath of it. And I have to believe that it wasn't this rusty when he parked it. It's just 19 years sitting there. This is going to happen over time, unfortunately. A lot of that could have been saved, but cab corners are still good. Bottom of the doors are shot. Rockers are immaculate. I think that little step, guy must have been shorter. If we look at the height to get into this is not It's nothing. So it must have been a short little feller. And, well, he was still using the sill plate, that's for sure, I guess. So I don't know what the idea was there. Bottom of the fender is rotten on that side. Here we can see the evidence of that topper that was on here. Jay took that off right away. It was an old square white topper that matched up. Looks like we got some wood or something in here. But look at the wheel wells. They're not beat in. They're not damaged. We still got tons of paint left on this thing. The headgate's in really good shape. That looks like the rad overflow. Look at that. I mean, it's not beat in or nothing. This was hardly used as a truck. Tailgate's in excellent shape. Got the nice Adventure SE trim inset there. We already talked about the aftermarket. Bumper. Looks like some old rubbing compound or something. I can just see this old fart out scrubbing on this thing on Sundays. At some point it had exhaust on it, looks like, because that's a newer tailish, well, I say newer, it's 2 decades old, but probably right before he parked it. Got the old Chrysler Corporation poverty caps on it. Love those. I think that looks great. Jay did a great job on the tire selection. Kind of an all-terrain instead of, you know, if we just go look at the C10, kind of a bad example, but I just don't think that like a radial would look good on this truck. And that does look like, let's go fishing or gold panning. You know what I mean? Same story over here. Got some rot. Identical. Cab corners, rockers perfect, doors shot. And I think a lot of that is the Illinois road salt. Probably drove it every now and then in the winter. Probably went ice fishing, I would guess. And if we just kind of look down the hood here, this thing's never been hailed on. Nothing like that. It sat in that garage. Guy cherished this thing. Might be able to polish out some of this. Of course, it's going to be difficult with the rust tokens all over this, but at least the green, I'll show you when we get inside. This green is actually really pretty. And the white top could probably be polished up. Maybe the hood. We got some mice or rat droppings on there. Hood's in perfect condition. Nice looking old truck. I will admit it right to you. So I got to be honest with you, I have already climbed in here. I could not resist this interior. It is actually pretty darn luxurious if you think about 1979. Smell-wise, it's like a horse hoof packed with tartar sauce with just a hint of tobacco pipe, the old school pipe. But it doesn't look like it was smoked in here, so I don't know if it was just his clothes or what. But it's like a minty, cabinish, canoe fall feel. Does that make sense? I don't know. Come over here and look. Wow, this pull strap is 14 miles long. They did not mess around with that. Wanted to show this quick before we get in the interior so we could elaborate a little bit on the 150. So if you see here, you got GWR on the front is 3,000, the rear is 3,500, so basic math, that's 12,000. And greater than 6,000, so that's where it gets to 150. And then, do we have a date? This is a December build right here. So, boy, look how clean that is. Can we start back here? Does this work? Look at that. Got a receipt back there. We'll try to grab that, see if we can get some dates off of it. I also like to verify dates, locations, names, things like that if I can. But look at this door panel. This is the Adventure SE model. So you get the nice wood grain. You get the carpeted bottom down here, which, by the way, he did not push his foot against the door to open it, hold it open, nothing like that. I mean, pretty time capsule-ish. Here you can see that paint I was talking about. A lot of metallic in it, which really doesn't exist anymore. Nice big giant pull handle, which isn't ripped off. I mean, all this seems to work. That's a plus. Look at this seat. Some sort of mint green plaid. Actually, it's kind of a gray. I bet that would clean up to like a gray and a cream. But it's not torn up. It's not ripped. Garage kept. Got some nice wood grain. I imagine this used to be chrome or something in there. Wood grain bezel. He went with the standard AM FM. And no power locks and no tilt. Oh, but it's got cruise. Wow. Cruise control. Here we can see the AC vents. Let's see if it was smoked in. That is a non-smoker. So let's just try to, yeah. This has never once in its life been smoked in. Maybe a passenger, but the owner was not a smoker. He liked floor, yeah. Look at the pedal. So this shows 100,249 miles. And I'm here to tell you, looking at this rig, sitting in it right now, this is 100% a actual 100,000 mile 1979 Dodge truck. It's actually really cool to be sitting in here because it is so clean and neat. Oh, look at the sticker. Look at this. Delphi, Indiana. Oil is due at 102,606. So that's further verifying. You know, the oil was just changed on this 75 million years ago, right before it was parked. Headliner is in perfect condition. Got that upgraded pattern in there. Some sort of, I don't know if those were hat holders or what those were. Someone knows what these clips were. That's aftermarket, obviously. What was he doing with that? Bleep bloop it down in the comments. Nice carpet. That looks like the shift knob. Oh yeah. Okay, well, we'll deal with that later. Original key. Nice truck. There's that quartz clock. This is different. Oh, I've seen these. That's right down here. It should say VAC. That's a vacuum gauge. So this is an economy gauge. So fuel crisis era stuff. You could monitor your fuel efficiency based on vacuum. That's what that would be there. We got charge and whirler, fuel, temp, oil, of course, speedometer, nothing else fancy going on here. Washer wiper there. Really nice interior. Clean belts. Still work. Beautiful. Boy, we might have to hang on to this one, at least for a little while. Okay, the moment 4 of you have been waiting for. Well, 5, including me. Open. Go. Ouch. Ah, engine. Huh. Great. Oh, washer bottles down. Boy, the vacuum line's in here. I do see some sort of alien looking. Is that supposed to be cruise control? Great. AC's on it. Oh, he did say he boiled this battery until he could smell it 6 blocks away. So that's how I know we're friends. And also there might be 4 volts in this thing. So that's good. It's complete. I mean, as I'm gathering around, you can get in here and look too if you want. Come on over. Well, here we are. We're going to call this a 360 until we're proved otherwise. It's got 2 barrel on it. Notice this right away. It does have a remanufactured fuel make it happen on it from June 19th, 1985 is the sticker on that. We'll have to rebuild that for sure. But everything is here. Oh wow, that moves. I thought I was going to break that. Look at this old tag. Is that an old service tag or something? There's writing on there. I'll try to clean that up later, see if we can find a date or something like that. So there's the fuel pump and the water boiler that he put in. Everything else, look at the original hose clamps. Original hose clamps. I mean, it has not been touched. Original hose clamp. I think that's supposed to be cruise control. There you go. This stuff starts fires. That's how you easily steal it. That thing just leaks goo out of it down the firewall and it's going to be bad. And that's pretty much what I know about Dodge trucks in a nutshell. Wow, is that? I don't know if that's stock. It's got a big, just solid state fan on here instead of a fan clutch. Maybe. I'm not quite sure. All the AC stuff looks complete. Condenser still in here. Pump, all the belts are on it. Look at that. Really cool. Original coil. I mean, this is as original as you can get, and that I've seen in a very, very long time. I wonder if there's a build sheet or something in here. Oh, whoops. Oh, this is cool. This is normally gone. The fuse cover, which I can't get off. I can see why these are discarded immediately. Anyway, fuses are in there. Well, that's cool. Old Mopar bag. Oh, here we go. Bob LeCrone. That's probably the original owner. Bob. It's Robert's truck. Kincaid Auto Sales, Lebanon, Indiana. December of 79. I'll be dipped. This is an NOS part. New old stock. Look at that. Brand new Chrysler latch for something. For what? I don't know. In an old school Mopar bag. We're going to put that right back in there. That's it. So it's Bob's truck. No build sheet. We'll continue to say it's a 360. So, we got to get this thing fired up. Back on the road. Well, here's the plan. Don't have one, but let's reverse engineer this. There are several things that could essentially shut us down. Rear end, we need that. The shift machine, go forward, go backwards machine, we're going to need that as well. The engine itself, hopefully that'll rotate and make some sort of power that will transmit to the transmission. And then the breakalizers to blow this thing up. Those are kind of the 3 big things we're going to need for this missile to run down the highway. I think we're going to start right up here. We need to produce some horsepowers. And if we break that down, spark, fuel, compression, valve timing, those are the things that we need for that to produce carbon monoxide and hopefully rotate some sort of energy into the transgression. So if we look at this thing, you know, we've got a quality remanufactured fuel make it happen around here that's 40 years old. Junk. Let's go ahead and take that off. We're going to rebuild that. Well, when I say rebuild, we're going to put in what we can find to understand and don't drop on the floor. And we'll throw that back in. And we might as well just dig into ignition. Sparkulators, lightning hoses, ignition module is probably bad. Go through that. This just addresses spark and fuel right away. There's already a new fuel pump in here, which is great. We don't have to monkey with that. I have no idea what's in the tank. I think this might be a plastic tank. We'll have to verify that though. And then at least we have that done. Then all we have to worry about is, does it have any compression or rings left in it? And does the timing chain exist? And if so, this should run. Here's what I'm excited about. You know, allegedly, the old timers scooted this right into the garage, shut it off, and walked away. So, as far as the rear end transmission brakes, we might, not gonna say it, but we'll see. Anyway, let's snip this off, snag in some parts, snip it back on, we'll start there. No idea what I'm looking at here. Vacuum lines, vacuum lines, vacuum lines, a whole wad of vacuum lines, a broken vacuum line, wires in a vacuum line, and another vacuum line. 3/8 pliers, 1/2 inch needle nose, and get that thing snagged off. Just as I'm starting to take the top screws out of this fuel make it happener, I can already smell the old gas. It's a very strong varnish smell. So it's pretty evident that's what I'm going to run into here, and maybe some sort of ethanol fuel corrosion as well, but we're not going to know until we get this fully apart. Now that I've used this hatchet looking device here over on the Tanya 300 to separate the old fuel make it happener, yes, of course, here it is, our ethanol varnish fuel soup inside this Holly 2-barrel. I think we're going to be able to rectify this though, that's the good news. Well, I fought with some stripped hardware a little bit on this guy, but here we go, fully rebuilt. And it's gonna work pretty decently, I think, actually. The main ailments were this. Sticky needle and seat. There's a bunch of varnish and goop on this. It was stuck in the seat, so it wasn't gonna pull any more fuel into the weird watery mud ethanol varnish bowl in here. And this guy. This is your accelerator pump, and it was completely shredded. So when you hit the gas pedal and you want a shot of gas when it's been sitting, this is not going to do that. Or when you're at idle, for example, and you crack the throttle coming off of like a stoplight or stop sign. This is the guy that's responsible for shooting a little bit of extra fuel in here to get you going. That was not going to do it either. Went ahead and just replaced everything out of the whole kit. We just got to throw this on the intake, and we can put this back in now. Well, the guy's got that snagged back on. I don't know, looks like a fuel make it happener. Went ahead and spent the time deciphering this. And cool is some of these, like this package down here, see how they have the stripes? Pink, green, so forth. We're able to just kind of look at this chart and figure out where everything goes. 80% of that was original vacuum line. Some of it's been replaced. Oh, a little bit of guessing and know-hows. The rest of it plugs into the air cleaner when we get to that point. I saw that in the bed of the truck right here. Oh, wow. Yep, I was told that this looked like it had lit on fire. Sure enough. So there's 2 vacuum lines right there, and this big guy which goes into the valve cover, actually 3 lines. So we should be set there, and we got a free air cleaner for it. That's a win. Well, I think we're going to call the fuel system good enough for who it's for. We'll eventually have to put some fuel in it, obviously, but we're going to worry about that down the road. I think we're going to turn our attention to the ignition system. Go ahead and get that buttoned up. Looks like the cap is popped off and loose. I think we're just going to replace it, the rotor, the lightning hoses. We'll pull the sparkulators out. We're going to scan on them, make sure there's no mechanical damage, signs of a bad head gasket, overheating, anything else like that. Replace all, basically full tune-up, right? And then we'll toss it back together. 79 Dodge 360, of course, borrowed the best firing order in the world, 18436572, so that's easy enough. Also, by the way, I've been looking around for a build sheet or something like that to verify the engine. I've been staring at this vacuum diagram for 17 months, and right on the top it says 360 2-barrel. Light duty. I mean, even though it's a half-ton-ish and a half or more, bigger half-ton 150, SE, RE, GHT, FE Adventure, Gold Miner, Warlock, Farmer Rancher edition, whatever this thing is. Okay, so let's just tear everything out, put all new back in. All right, let's take a look at our ignition system here. Rotor button definitely needed replaced. Worn, chalky. Same with the cap. It's got a bunch of debris, sulfur, old stuff, moisture sitting. The wires, I was surprised to see. These are old standard motor products, but mice haven't been in them. Mice haven't been in anything in here. Pretty remarkable, actually. Sparkulators, guy knew what he was doing. He's running the AC Delcos, but they were in terrible shape. This one is, well, that one had been firing. There's a bunch of stuff between the strap and the electrode and porcelain and barrel. That one's pretty good. That was burning right. That one is fouled. That one is oil fouled. So, evidence of running a tad rich, and we got a little bit of burning oil. Burning oil. That one actually tells me we can put a little timing in it. That one looks good. So oddly, 3 and 4 opposing, running good. That one's not bad. Oof. Very oil soaked. Lots of oil getting past the rings on number 7 over here. Actually, you can see the oil glistening even on the head. So I'm going to say it's going to run pretty decent, but it might smoke a little bit. And we might be in a situation where it could potentially not be the rings, could just be hardened valve seals sitting over the years. I mean, it's 100,000 miles. This truck is, I can't do math, but 40, what is it? 46 years old, something like that. It's getting up there. But let's get these sparkulators replaced, get all that stuff back in. But before we do that, I'm going to shoot some juice in each cylinder. It's already been cranked on quite a bit, but let's go ahead and lubricate it, just make sure we're good there. I also want to make sure the key is working, the starter is working, this battery that was boiled is battering, and whatnot. And then after we crank it and flush it, then we'll go ahead and put in the new sparkulators. Just a side note, if your engine is stuck, spraying in like this doesn't really do much because of the V and the V8. You're better off leaving the sparkulators in, taking the carb off, and just floating the thing to the ceiling with whatever you can grab. ATF, kerosene, diesel, silicone. and hope that it can soak all of the bad pistons and cylinders, fill them all the way to the top. When you're doing it like this, all this juice, even though you spray it to the top, is going to drip and leak to the bottom of the bore, which in most cases is typically where your issue is, but not always. So 80% of the time it's all the time, unless it's 60% of the time that it's not. Juicing it out. Ooh, that cylinder's at the top. All right. Juiced. Well, I'm going to lean in and do key things. It's pretty sweet. We have ignition sticks. We should hear a dolphin crying, as that one band said in the 90s. Key forward, I got to fasten seat belts. Nothing else. No horn. Blinker. Yes. Left. Yes. Nice. Okay, here we go. Crankage. Sounds like a dinner alarm or tornado siren. Anywho, so now that we got PB Blaster over all the fenders and hood and everything, mission success. Now, we'll put everything backer kinder. Boom, we've snipped in some ignition. That all looks fairly decent-ish. I'll come back and clean it up a little bit better down the road. We're just going to hope and assume the ignition coil, magnetic pickup, the ignition box, all that is good. We'll have to troubleshoot that here one at a time. We're just going to do the old school fashion of throw something flammable in it. If it bangs and makes noise, hey, we must have spark. You know what I mean? That's going to start with fuel. We could prime it, but let's go ahead and put 5 gallons of fresh fuel in the tank. We might as well see if that new pump that he put in is going to actually pull some fuel and what that's looking like to tank. Actually, let's crawl under and see if it's a plastic tank or not. Because if we're burping and babying this thing and bottle feeding it, we might as well be pulling from the tank and get that process over too. If it runs and it sounds decent, then we're going to keep on moving. We're going to have to change the oil in this thing. Speaking of which, we should check that and make sure there's some in it before we're cranking. Too much more. Yep, it's got something in there. Good enough. Bought this thing. Oh, hey, that looks pretty good. Smells like a hair salon, but we'll pretend we didn't smell that. It's got juice in it though, so we're not going to burn up the pump cranking on it. It's probably a 727. Anyway, let's put some fresh fuel in it. Underneath the rig, and this is fantastic news. One of the best things Dodge did. Plastic tank. Well, it's a big one too. Look at that, it's the whole length of the dang truck. It's a fuselage. Anyway, we're not going to have rust in the system, which is great. Look at that big old muffler. It's going to be quiet if and when it does run. Some scaling down here, but nothing terrible. Looks like rear housing's weeping. The bed looks good. Underside, not bad. Solid old truck. Oh, does this have a lock and key? Hope no. Thank goodness. Boy, it'd be nice to be able to pull out of here tonight. Get some miles down. Or at least be able to not bother this gentleman. He actually lives like 2.5 hours from here. He's only here because of me, and I feel terrible. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, what in the devil? There we go. Drink up, little buddy. Some fresh 83, 10% ethanol. Oh, I hope this truck runs good. This is a really good, like, hauling muffler pipe and stuff to the scrapyard and picking up parts and stuff with pallets. You know, a runaround truck to go in the town rig. You don't have to worry if you get a door ding. It'd still not be good, but it's not like, oh, it's freshly painted. Can't use it for anything. I don't understand why this is not wanting to take fuel. Must not be venting right or something. An old topper would look cool on this though, wouldn't it? Piece of carpet in the back. Maybe a pew-pew rack in the back window. Cowboy hat holder up on the headliner. Yeah. That's this kind of truck right here. This is definitely one of the, you know, listen, you're playing some cardboard crack, you know, some zip strips. You know what I'm talking about, pull tabs. You walk out of the tavern at 1:58 a.m. and Paul looks at Gary and says, "Is that Bill's rig?" And Bill just pipes in, "Yep," as he's smoking a cigar. Walking towards the rig, fumbling through 14 sets of keys. That's it, right there. You just have it painted? No, buffed on it a little bit. You know, she's a Ridge, you know, new tires. That is this vehicle. I don't think we got to do much to it. Boy, I might have to mop the floor here. I got $87 of fuel on the ground and $2 in the truck. Bob, how do you fill your truck? Bob, knock twice if I'm doing it wrong. I knew I was right. Wonder if we run an EVP session in here. See what happens. That should be good enough. Let's see if the fuel gauge moves. Oh, the radio works. That's new. Oh, it's moving, look. Boy, by golly, I think that might work. And our battery's dead. And of course, she's cold. But if that fuel gauge works, that's going to be a first in a long time. Well, my radio works. I know you want to buy my truck, but I can't because the radio works. Unless you've got a 70 to 72 Duster that's not rusted out, because the radio works. We're going to prime this thing up with some 50 to 1 2-cycle gas. It's got 92 non-ethanol fuel in it and some 2-stroke oil. Lubricates the needle and seat, which we just put in there. We don't want that to stick up. Lubricates the top end, rings, pistons, all of that. See if I can get it in the vent here. Fill the bowl, maybe. I seem to be doing it. And it should pull fuel from the bowl here for quite a while, hopefully until it pulls fuel from the gas tank. And then we will have full victory. Okay, splash down the throat. That was way too much. Perfect. All right, let's see if this thing runs. All this work for this 100,000 mile, 360, 79 tin jobber, adventurer, gold miner, rancher, warlock, 150, 200, 250, 100 truck, SE, SCSD. I hope it runs good. Guy cracked the door back there a while ago on account of all the carb cleaner, brake cleaner, gasoline, everything. We'll want some wind in here just in case this thing fires. Okay, bring the thunder. Nothing. Oh! It's tried. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Just shots back through the carb. Oh, wait a second. My choke lever is disconnected. There we go. Who rebuilt that carb? Huh. Warranty. Come on. Come on, buddy. It wants to. It's just not quite there. We got spark, obviously. Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. Yes! Keep going, keep going. It's a whole lot of smoke. Oh, I didn't even check for exhaust restrictions. Ah, come on, bud. I don't hear any knocking, banging. Oil pressure's climbing slowly. It's charging. We're getting poor fuel mileage, this gauge says. Huh. Oh, it is smoking to high heaven. Oh, wow. Bad, bad smoke. Let me turn the idle up. Oh. I think you're back, Bob. I think you're back. Oh, she's angry now. That's not good. It sounds like I'm revving it to the moon, but I'm not. That's just that fan. Oh, wow. Huh. It doesn't want to idle. Woo! Welcome back, Betty. Welcome back. Let's get you home. What do you think about that? Yeah. Boy, probably a good time to head to the C-store and get something to wet my back neck. It is thick. Smoking here right now. But the old Adventure fired. I would like to do a little bit more work on this before we commit to, you know, transmission, oil change, brakes, stuff like that. You know, namely, can it just sit and idle like a normal human being? Come on, Bob. We'll work on that here for a while. Well, it really does not want to idle. I've monkeyed around with quite a bit of stuff. Might have a vacuum leak out there, but I got to figure out how to jam the throttle so I can run under there and start checking. Good oil pressure, starting to warm up finally. It's charging, but if I let off, immediately dies. Well, I've got no idle circuit on this thing whatsoever. Jammed a plier in there, it's still hanging in there. Went around with some brake clean, sniffing out vacuum leaks. I did find the old throttle shaft leak on this. Just whatever reman, she's worn out. We got a vacuum leak here and here, but I don't know if it's enough to completely make the idle circuit null and void. There is an idle enrichment valve that's here on the back. When it senses vacuum, there's a valve in there that pulls open. So I'm going through the EGR on this. Yeah, this has full EGR and everything, and it has Series 1 diagnosticals. So I'm going through all of this just trying to make sure it's right before we start tearing into anything and making it different or worse or wronger-ish than that mess. Well, found this old box, and in it, I believe, was the original carb. And this one is, it's got that same, it's like someone poured sand in the tank. Maybe that's how often he was down by the river. I don't know. This one is in really tough shape as well. I don't really have an option. I'm gonna have to pull the car back off again and try to make 1 out of 2. Thinking about using the base plate on this one. Maybe fix the vacuum leaks with the throttle shafts, the base plate, use the main body and the top of the other one. The reman has like a plastic straw going through here instead of the right piece. I don't know. We're in it now and it's late. So this is what we're doing for the rest of the night, I think. This is already really dirty. That's not a good sign. Well, the carburetor's on once again. Went through that thing and man, I'm telling you, whew, ha, absolutely nothing. Didn't say anything. Really didn't. Nonetheless, I Frankenstein one together there, cleaned it again. Got the transfer slot, set it square. I mean, everything's the way that it should be. So I think we've got a massive vacuum leak in the intake. And I don't think we're going to be able to fix that here. But nonetheless, I'm going to take the fuel filter that's in it out, put a different one in, higher micron, because we're still getting some crud in there. That tank has sand or something in it. We might have to switch up to a fuel jug if it doesn't get better, but I want to put a clear filter in it so we can monitor what's going on. After I do that, we'll try to fire it again, see what it says this time. Well, this was the filter that was in line. I just hacked it out down here. And anytime you can learn something, boy, that's a great day, right? So we saw all the stuff that was in the carburetor that I had just cleaned. Take this apart because it's rinsable and reusable. It didn't stop nothing. Huh. Now you know. Well, let's see how the definition of insanity treats us. I'm not even sure if I got everything plugged in, but I don't think it's going to matter. Yeah, same thing. Same exact thing. So, there's really not much I can do here. I am not going to get the parts we need. I'd like to just put a whole nother intake on here. Gaskets, carburetor. But I don't want to sit in this small town for 2 to 3 days. What's that do? Anything? I'm going to try the gears. Actually, I need to try the brake first. Just kind of pedal. Reverse. Don't hit that nice little Chevy back there. Reverse drop. I think it clunked. Oh yeah. Okay, well, we got transmission and front brake. Reason I just did that is, what I'm thinking is, if we could just jam this on the highway, can a guy just keep her off the idle circuit? And still try to nurse it home. I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the box here. We got to do what we got to do. Sometimes it ain't pretty. We've driven home with no brakes. You know what I mean? Oops. Juice. Well, let's change oil on this thing. Forget about the issues. Laying underneath the rig, getting ready to drop the oil. Looked up at the filter just from cranking on it. Look at all that this wicks is already caught. That's an issue. That is an issue. So I might have to double stack the filters or start planning a different fuel container. We've also got a bad oil leak coming somewhere up here. cover, timing cover or something. Have to keep an eye on that. Dropping oil bay one. Oh, that's hot now. Hot. All right. And we'll throw a Wix oil filter in here. I'm gonna lay for a minute while this drains. Well, the guy is topside bay, sideways in the middle-ish here. Oh, this is gonna be a little, we're gonna have to do a sky pour. I'm gonna put the cap down there. We're gonna run the VR1 2050 racing and classic car engine oil. This stuff's specifically designed for pushrod and flat tappet engines. It's got all the zinc and phosphorus to make this guy happy, which it's going to need to be for a 400-mile journey. So, little review as I'm hopefully not making a mess. Come on. There we go. This thing's running rough. We've got a massive vacuum leak or worse going on right now. Went through that fuel make it happen a couple times. We've got all new ignition in this thing. Obviously putting oil in it, oil filter, fuel filter. We seem to have gear, at least reverse. I don't want to try forward. I've got a pole here that's holding the building up. We've got at least front brake because it squealed the back tire. And I think what I'm going to do is just try to get it out of this building. I need to get Jay back home. He actually lives in Indiana. He drove all the way over here. And he's been awesome, but I've taken up a bunch of his time. So we're going to try to get this outside. And like I say, my plan is if a guy can get this on a highway and just run it at, say, 2,000 RPM, get off the idle circuit, we might be okay. Or at least that's what I'm telling myself. But this one is going to be, has me nervous a little bit. So this is really cool and very nice of Jay. Look at this hot rod. He has gifted this to my boys. 49cc, just hot rod. He's put a Timu carburetor on it already. I guess it runs good. And he said, your boys can have it. I've got a bunch of these. So big thanks to Jay. He's opening up the door right now. He's gonna fire up that big block Chevy because I don't want to take the front end of it off. I think we're gonna push it over to here and then I'm gonna reverse drop it, take the half corner of that garage out, hopefully miss the Mazda or whatever that is, and hit the road. Yeah. That's what my Dodge sounds like too. It echoes different over there than here, obviously. Okay, no idea how this is working. Oh, by the way, I checked the lights on this thing. Everything works. The high-low beam button sticks, but we've got headlamps and tail lips. That's pretty cool. This is a terrible idea. Okay, we have driven 200 yards. It's terrible. One of the fronts is grinding. I think are these disc brakes up front? I haven't even looked. It'll loosen up, is what I'm saying. Power steering works fantastic. We do have forward, obviously, so that's great. At least we have the T-Genre. If we break down, he said that'll go like 22, 23 miles an hour. We'll be home end of next week. Piece of cake. Anyway, I'm gonna fill this thing up. I think for tonight, I'm gonna find a Motel 3.5. We're gonna break down. Let's just put it that way. So let's break down in the daylight. Also, the tow bills are cheaper during business hours. You know what I mean? And hitchhiking is more successful. So I'm gonna find a motel, crash tonight. There's one right down the street. We'll see you guys in the morning and we'll come up with a plan that we won't do. Okay? Okay. Well, good morning. smells like falafels out here for some reason. This motel was pretty rough, but $68 is a lot better than $155 right down the road. Gotta save when and where we can. Normally I'd say let's get a cup of coffee, check the oil, and go, but we're gonna do neither. It's full on oil, and I can't stop, or the truck will quit. So basically, this is gonna be something else. Last night, every stop sign, stoplight, it would quit. Even when I was revving it, it would just, boom, die. And it was actually kind of amusing when I'd pull up to a stop sign. The brakes are terrible, terrible, terrible. I really should spend a day or two here and go through this truck more, but you know the deal. I'd stop at these stop signs and the grinding and quits. And then a plume of brake dust and rust cloud would just kind of come around the truck through the headlights that are really super dim and don't work barely. Kind of eerie, kind of cool. I'm like, yeah, doing it on purpose. We're shooting a movie called Don't Do This. Anyway, let's see if it starts. Started. Why is it trying to idle right now? It didn't though. Oh boy. It's barely. I got a halfway floored. Running on 2. Running on 0. Come on. Oh, we're gonna be renting a U-Haul. Hope they got deals for weekdays. I've got just a flurry of good news. I'm not even really sure where to start. I only made it 8 miles. It's overheating really bad. That's good. But what's great is the front discs seem to be grinding away into a new shape or pattern, and it's getting better. It's so gutless that I have to keep it almost floored to go 60. Which is great because we're off of the idle circuit and the vacuum leak is irrelevant at that point because we're trying to dump so much fuel in it to just move. That's pretty good as well. But I get to get coffee now and see if they have any coolant here. Or we'll just have to buy a gallon of water out of the fridge, dump that in, go into the sink, fill it, back and forth. But anyway, got ourselves another Mopar. I should fire up that moped just to make sure that runs. Well, we gotta wait a little bit for this to cool down. Yep. The mirror fell off, rear view mirror. Startled me, bounced off the dash, smacked the old knee. I guess we could look at our fuel tray. Not plugged yet, but again, we've only got a few miles. We're probably going to have to stop at a parts store and get a starter, ignition module, engine, and then we'll have everything we need for the road, you know? Well, I guess we're going to try her again. The starter is not going to make it. Come on, people. Well, now you're going to turn this way. Oh. Everything's normal. Neutral drop. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, yeah. Let's say a prayer for this transmission, too. Power brake it down here. Oh, the Grinding brakes. Oh, it's bad. Okay, off we go. And to the mat. Boy. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, 392 miles. Well, I got updates. The overheating issue went away. It must have just been a sticky thermostat, I would guess. It's actually running pretty cool. The temp gauge seems to be working on it. Fuel gauge still hasn't come around. It's charging. That battery's hanging in there, starting this thing 158,000 times. That doesn't seem to be getting worse. However, the engine itself seems to be running a little bit better. It's not missing as much and things of that nature. One good, nice overheating and 100 and whatever we're at, 130 miles, something like that. Got the rings seated back up. She's coming back around a little bit, you know. Gonna put some fuel in it, check my fuel mileage, probably 10 to 12, maybe even worse, because you gotta keep the boot through the firewall on this thing. Grab some lunch here, wet the back neck, and keep on rocking. While it's filling, I'm checking the filter, and that is not getting worse. So that's great news. I think we got all that stuff out of here. The best solution for pollution is dilution, so we'll just keep dumping fuel in it. We got something dripping back there. Probably rear main, so we'll pretend we didn't see that. You know what I mean? Truck's staying nice and cool. Oil pressure is still great, which is awesome. Still charging. When we're running down the road, the vacuum gauge is like in the orange, not doing so good. Taking a little bit of a break here, and then we'll be back on the road here in just a little bit. Well, this couldn't be worse news. This is stop and go traffic. Two things in which this truck does not want to do. I'm not really sure how I'm going to navigate this. I may have to just quit already. May have to just crawl along on the shoulder in first gear. Not really pass anyone. They don't think I'm trying to jump in front of them, but I mean, I can't neutral drop this truck 100 times. Got her in first, running about 15 miles an hour. Hopefully traffic can just keep moving at this pace. Oh, it's not. Oh no. This is where we're gonna kill a starter or the front brakes, which are metal on metal. Just realized I can't ride this shoulder if things get hairy because it's a bridge. We would be in the drink. I'm trying to leave a cushion here behind this semi. Oh, please don't break down on the bridges. We're crossing over into Kentucky. And there's a long stretch of bridge here. For some reason, instead of the two states working together to knock this project out quickly, oh, no one's even working today. Seems fine. Restart 97. Neutral drop 746. Hit Ohio River. We can keep this pace up. We might have it. I think I'm gonna leave with some seat material when I get out. The guy is puckered up right now. This could get bad. Fingers crossed. Listen to that front brake. I hope that's not also a bearing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think we're losing the left front. Great. Oh. I think the guy's still got a couple 100 miles to go. We'll just go until she starts smoking or falls off. One of the two. Seat's really comfortable and the radio works, so I'm not overly concerned.
Former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom.
Well, somehow, some way, Bob's Adventure pulled itself from Illinois all the way to Tennessee. We never really broke down. We just were continually breaking down. But look, I asked a lot of this truck after sitting off the road for almost 2 decades. And it's on me. I never even pulled a wheel off. I was in such a hurry. But we're going to bring this thing back. It needs a tremendous amount of work. With that being said, it is a solid truck all the way around. It's just some stuff here and there we've got to rectify and fix. And that's where I need your help. How far do we want to take it here with this 79 D150? Just spiff her up into a decent going to town rig? Or do we try to fix some of the rust, take it a little farther, buff the paint? I don't know. You guys put it down there in the comments. Hey, before I forget, next weekend is going to be Duct Tape Drags at beautiful Tucson Dragway in Tucson, Arizona. We got the low buck drag race in the Vice Grip Garage Burnout Pit. There's the least car showsy car show ever. There's a Tri-5 shootout. There's a legendary bonfire, camping, food, music, fun. I'm going to be there. Freiberger's going to be there. Lucky, I think Dulcich is going to be there. A bunch of us hanging out, having a good time. If you can, come on down and check it out. It's going to be a great time. If you can't make it, this year we're streaming it on Freedom Plus. So you can actually just watch live coverage October 18th, right from your tele set. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you so very much. We'll see you next Friday.